So I went out to the range today to take a couple shots with my Umrex gauntlet. I know you guys are probably bored about hearing about it, but I wanted to explain and kind of go through what is too cheap of a pellet, and do more expensive pellets really help you out or not. So this one, the Daisy 22 Precision Point Max pellet, came in at around 0.75 cents per shot when I picked them up, and so this is a tin of 250 of them, and I got it for less than $2.50. So that was one pellet. Going through my stack of pellets here. The second pellet that I tested out, actually I know how this pellet performs. This is the pellet that I always use. It is the Crossman Premier Hollow Points. These are the 14.3 grains, and finally, and this comes in at about a cent and 1.2 cents a shot. And finally, these little guys. This is the Hatsan Vortex Pellets. I think these are right around 3 to 3.5 cents a shot. I'll look them up and put a Q in how much they actually cost per shot. So what I wanted to see was, obviously the pellets should be doing something better. Either they're going to be more consistent, or they're going to be more accurate, or they're going to have, some sort of, if it's a hollow point or a hunting head, there's going to be something that differentiates them. And I just was curious as well to see if the gauntlet would shoot something like this incredibly well, or something like this incredibly well. Because I've always just shot the Crossmans, because I've always owned Crossmans. My gauntlet is the first one that is not a Crossman. So enough rambling, and let's get into some shooting. So these are the Daisies 22 Precision Points, and earlier in the video I didn't film through the camera just so that I could be sure, so we're going to give these a run quick. I'm using a 6-inch target because I have no faith in them. Well, maybe I should have less faith in them, or more faith in them all the time. Got a gobbler moving his head around. Well, that's why I'm using a 6-inch target. Look at the spread on these things. We're only 3 shots in. That one didn't even hit the damn target. Neither did that one. There's 3 that didn't hit the target. 4. That last one is up in that corner there. Okay, so these are the Hatsan Pellets, the Vertex ones, the 14.3 grains, or excuse me, 13.3 grains. Alright, we got a pause in the wind, we're going to shoot. There we go, there's 10. Okay, so this is a 50-yard zero. I don't have any wind right now, but my guess is there's going to be some wind. So here we go. was very confused on why I was getting such erratic groups out of the daisies. And so what I did is I put the slow-mo cam on, and basically I wanted to see how they were grouping and how they were flying. So this is at 50 yards, and this kind of explains what is going on. These pellets are just wildly spinning through the air because they don't have any balance. Most of them are corkscrewing, and they aren't even landing on this board. And this board is probably 18 inches tall and about 10 inches wide. And I can't even keep it on this board at 50 yards. So now that you've seen the shooting, come to a couple of results. The first is that the daisies absolutely suck through the gauntlet. This is not a 6-shot grouping. This is a 10-shot grouping. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is one I'm pretty sure you saw in the video. I missed 3 or 4 consecutive shots on a 6-inch circle. It's 0 for this right here. Pretty crazy. And that was pretty much the usual. I think this was my best grouping with them. I did shoot a bunch of them because I wanted to make sure that I presented a good grouping and an average grouping. I didn't want to say, cherry pick the one where I got 5 of them to happen to land on the target or whatever. The Hatsan Pellets, my initial group with them was okay. I've got a bunch of targets here. So this is a 2-inch grouping. This is 2 inches across here, and I've got one on this edge and I've got one on this edge. Well, a little less than that. It's 1.5 inches, or 1.75 inches. But this is also a 10-shot group. But I saw potential in this. The other 5 kind of grouped out around here, and I kind of allude to it, but there is such a thing as a barrel getting used to pellets, and I figured that was the case with this. So I shot another group with them. This is also another average group. This one right here, this is called wind. It was gusting, and I shot during a point where there was not a whole lot of wind, and then all of a sudden the wind picked up, and I didn't adjust for it, and it pushed it this way. So this group is about 3/4 of an inch across. So not a bad group at all, but stuck to the back of it. And it's not going to come off. There it did. Is my Crossman Premier hollow points. So that is about dime size. And so what I would say is that the Umrex Gauntlet shoots those incredibly well, and for some reason the mid-range price on the pellets seems to work well with them. I don't know if it's because it's harder or softer. And finally, what else I want to talk about is lead quality. That's why we're picking up the cheap ones here. So looking through these, I'm going to pick out 4 or 5 pellets and show why I think they performed very poorly. Well, that was exhaustive. We'll cut that out, but basically, between these 5 pellets, there's issues with all of them. And I looked a little bit, but it wasn't that much. So that one has a tail on the pellet, and so that's going to give you one way that it flies. This one has a flat side to it, so that's going to fly differently. This one also has a flat side, so that's going to fly differently. This one's got a wall that is twice as thick as the other side. This one also has a flat side. And this one is ovular. That's 6 pellets. So I just went through and grabbed those quickly. And when I loaded that, if I can get my other one, I'll show you that I loaded up a magazine, just pulled them out and started throwing them in. I think I had 6 or 7 of them with bent skirts that didn't actually want to feed. So that's a major problem, and that's where those cheap pellets come in. You're not buying a consistent pellet. So depending on how you load each one of these, the flat side is going to make it veer left or right. And I think I captured that pretty well in some slow-mo, and hopefully that's good enough to get in the video. Anyways, I've rambled on plenty long. Hopefully you liked it, and if you really liked it, leave a like and subscribe and tell me what else you want to see.